Alright, bro, welcome to another episode of Sashu explaining you the secrets of the universe. Now, today we are gonna talk about why the elites run the world, bro. Like, why evil people run the world. Why evil runs this world, bro. Why evil runs this world, basically, this material world. Today we're gonna talk about that, and why good always prevails in the end. I'm gonna explain to you the fucking reason why there is elites, why evil runs the world, and why this world is run by the devil. Now, brother, the first thing you need to realize, the first constant we need to set in place is the fact that life just is. Life is one. Everything is one, brother. Everything is one. Because everything is energy. You need to understand this. Everything is energy. Me, you, this laptop, the fucking microphone of my earphones, bro, the mountain there, the road there, the cow there, everything is one. Because everything is made out of energy. Like, that's why everything is interconnected. Everything in life is interconnected. That's the reason for it. Everything in life flows into each other. You, the girl, you're like everything. You with God, everything is one. Everything is God, bro. Everything is energy. This is the first constant you need to realize. Now the problem comes with the fact that we, humans, unlike animals, bro, we have a piece of God in us. We have something divine in us. Literally, the soul is a piece from God. The soul is a piece from God in you, bro. Living in you. And what is the difference between animals and God, bro? Basically, the difference is the fact that we seek knowledge. Because of this, bro, because of the fact that we have the soul is a piece from God, we have a piece of God. Because of this, we seek knowledge. We seek understanding. This is the projection of the divine, of God within us. Basically, how it's called? You have in Bulgarian, it's called, you have us, bro. Like, you have this you living out of the ego world. We seek knowledge, we seek understanding. This is the projection of the divine, of God within us. We have this. Animals, on the other hand, animals don't have this, bro. Animals don't seek understanding. Animals just live. They just do. They don't seek to understand why they do. Animals live exactly this way, bro. Basically, animals live exactly like this. They follow this. This is how animals live. Because animals follow instincts. Animals follow and rely fully, motherfucker, fully upon instincts. Which is, life just is, But what this means, bro, that life just is. Life is one. This means that there's no good or bad, no right no right, wrong, no cheap, expensive, bro. You know, no hard, easy. There's all of these are man-made concepts, bro. All of these are man-made concepts. Because life just is. But this means that there's no differentiation between things. Everything is one. You know? The problem is, here appears a gap, bro. Like, because we have a piece of God in us, because of this, we can't live like this. We can't. And we seek understanding. But there is nothing to be understood, bro. You know, life just is. Life is one. Life is energy. And yet we seek understanding in some way. Like, we have the human need. This is the gap. We have the human need. You know, let me make this smaller. The human need to justify and explain things. That's why you see women justifying and explaining so much, because women, they are not as conscious as men, bro, basically. They're more, like, women are closer to the earth. Women are closer to their instincts. You know? The human need to justify and explain things. Because we have a piece of God in us. But then there's a gap here. There's a fucking gap. What happens? What happens with this gap, bro? You know? What happens with this fucking gap? The thing that covers this gap is perception. This is what covers the gap between the fact that life just is and the fact that we seek knowledge because we are humans. This is the human need to justify and explain things. And perception, here's where perception comes into place. You hear me? Bear with me, bro. There is a point here. As I said, why good always prevails. We're gonna understand why, bro. We're gonna understand why good always prevails. But first, we need to understand how come evil run the material world. Well, evil runs the material world, bro, because perception comes from the devil. Perception comes from the devil. Perception comes from Satan, bro. Life just is. This is what God has made it to be. But perception comes from the devil. You know. The truth is not important. It's important how things appear to be. You know, because all of this is a lie. All of this is a lie, bro. All of this is a fucking lie. Human-made concepts. A lie. Which means that they lie on nothing. There's nothing concrete behind them. You know, there's nothing concrete behind these human-made concepts. And that's why perception is powerful. Because when there's nothing concrete they lie on, it's speculation, bro. This is basically a speculation. That's why we say everything is mindset. That's why we say everything is energy and everything is mindset. Because it actually is. This is a fucking lie, bro. This doesn't mean anything. This is a false concept. And the better you are at perception, the more perceptive you are, the better you are at the game of life. Because this is not concrete. As I said for the fucking 10th time, this is not concrete. But we need it. And because we need it and it's not concrete, that's why perception fills the gap. Perception makes the gap bigger, bro. Alright? Bear with me. Now, the better you are at perception, the better you'll be at the game of life, because that is not important, it's important how things appear to be. Which means, bro, it's my truth against yours. You know? Which truth is gonna seem more legitimate? Which truth is gonna seem more legitimate, bro? Which truth is gonna seem more legitimate, bro? By the way, this is the entire concept that law is based on. This is what law is based on. My truth against yours. Which is gonna be stronger. And it's all about making people perceive your truth as more legitimate than the other person's truth, bro. Because we are in a competition. It's my truth against yours. It's my belief against your belief. But like money, like the fucking financial market, bro, when there's nothing concrete behind it, it's all a speculation. It's all a fucking speculation. And because it's all a fucking speculation, and there's no there's nothing concrete behind it, basically it's a phenomenon happening here on Earth. Because God, he sees the truth, bro. You can't hide from God with perception. God is perception is something made from the devil. That's why good people don't do well here. That's why the most honorable, honest, good, helpful people have miserable lives, bro. Miserable, shitty, unworthy for their soul lives. Whereas lustful, bad, dishonest, untrustworthy, etc. people are in the highest echelons of society, bro. That's why. Let me make a little demonstration for you, bro. You know? And let's say, who's a bad guy? A fucking this guy. Or no. The devil's advocate. And that's why this guy runs the world. Because he's good at perception. The better you are at perception, the more successful you're gonna be in life, but the closer you'll be to the devil. It's actually in our pursuit to be good at perception is where we lose our soul to the devil. Because the people who are closest to God, they have miserable lives, bro. They're the brokest, poorest people in the lowest echelons of society, always basically crushed and walked onto from the people who are good at perception. Sales is about perception. The art of the deal is about perception. Negotiation is about perception. Politics is about perception. Finance is about perception. Marketing is about perception. That's the truth, bro. That if you want to basically do good in life, you need to learn a bit of perception. Otherwise, people are gonna walk over you. But it's a very thin life. It's a very thin line, because in your pursuit of perception, in your pursuit of getting good at perception, bro, you lose your soul to the devil. And then it was all for nothing. That's why you need to know when to stick up for yourself, when to basically defend your position, bro, and when to back off, when to give up, when to stop. You need to know when to stop. You need to know when to push and when to stop, exactly like in the devil's advocate. And this is how life works. This is why the elites run the world. This is why evil runs the world. But at the end of the day, bro, as you know, always in the end of the day, the purity of good always prevails. That's the truth. In the end of the day, the purity of good always prevails. Good always wins, bro. Like, in the end of the day, that's how the world works. And then the cycle starts again. Then evil, builds everything from scratch. Climbs up the ranks. That's how basically the cycle of, by the way, we're getting into deep shit now. That's how the cycle of life happens, by the way. Like, if we call this the cycle of life, if you look at history, bro, and you get interested a bit about history of the world and like maybe a bit of conspiracy, you understand that there's been different periods in time, different epochs.
Epochs.
Different epochs. You know, how there was an ice age, there was a fucking stone age, etc., etc. Like there's been a lot of civilizations on Earth. This civilization, you know, our civilization right now, bro, our civilization, that's maybe 5,000, 6,000 years old, or however old are the fucking first, you know, Egyptians, etc., etc. When the first people came in the swing of civilization, right here, you know, swing of civilization. Basically, Mesopotamia, bro. Here it's called the swing of civilization, because here is where the first people came. They're just the first people from our age, bro. You know, this is the swing of civilization. Before that, there was many other civilizations. And basically every civilization starts with people, you know, early ages, you know. There's early ages, bro. Early ages, then people start to develop, bro. Then there's like a first empire, you know, first empire is born, then people start talking to each other, people start interacting to each other, then whatever languages, countries, culture, science, etc., all these things, then basically develops, bro. Basically every civilization develops until the point where they become so conscious, etc., etc., the world becomes so run by evil that they basically destroy themselves. They destroy themselves, bro. The fucking civilization destroys themselves. And then they start back from zero. Then they start back from zero again. You know, if we look at cycle of a civilization. That's different from changing world orders, bro. But, you know, stability, early growth, prosperity, that's different from from that's not like Changing World Orders by Ray Dalio. That's a different concept. That's a much bigger concept. You know. Yeah, there's been many human civilizations before us, before our current one. I'm not talking about empires, bro. I'm not talking about the Egyptian civilization or the uh, Roman civilization or the Western civilization. No, 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 no. The Chinese Empire, no. This is all one. We are one here. I'm talking about different civilizations, different humans, bro. But this is how everything works. Like in the end, we become so good at perception. We become so run by evil. There is, you know, how is it called? Homur and Gomur, Sodom and Gomor. Yeah, let's see, Sodom and Gomor. Sodom and Gorom, bro. Basically, we become so Sodom and Gorom, bro. We become so much Sodom and Gorom that we destroy ourselves, or God destroys us, and we start back from zero. We start back from good. Here we are at its purest. Here we are like animals, and the more we get conscious, the more we develop, the better understanding we develop, the more ahead we get in life, the more evolved we get, the more we come to our end, the more we come to Sodom and Gomorrah. That's just the cycle of life, and that's why in the end of the day, good always prevails. But it just destroys itself, bro. That's the truth. I'ma leave you with this, bro. This is the cycle of life. This is how life works. This is why the elites run the world. This is why evil people run the world, bro. This is why evil people do better at life than good people. This is why all the saints had miserable lives, bro. They had poor, miserable lives of discomfort and despair. And that's about it, bro. Hope it makes sense to you. Let's fucking go. Great having you at this Sashu history lesson. Let's get it, bro.